are Celtic supporters, faithful through and through. Over and over, we will follow you. If you go to Germany, you will see us there. France or Spain, it's all the same. We'll go anywhere. We'll be there to cheer you as you travel around. You can take us anywhere, 'cause we won't let you down. So over and over, we will follow you. Over and over, we will see you through, because we are Celtic supporters, faithful through and through. Over and over, we will follow you. If you go to Lisbon, we'll go once again. And as Zaire, you'll find us there, calling out your name. When you need supporting, you'll always know. We'll be right there with you everywhere you go. So over and over, we will follow you. Over and over, we will see you through, because we are Celtic supporters, faithful through and through. Over and over, we will follow you. And over and over, we will follow you.
Hail, hail, and welcome to the HomeBhoys Extra here on a Monday night, March 25th. There's no live show tonight because, well, it's international break and nobody's watching football because it's international football. And we're doing this special on the back of a lot of events that have happened in the past, I don't know, probably just the past week, just over the past week or so. If anybody was listening to Celtic Dream Show, perhaps last Sunday night, or if not, might have heard snippets on SoundCloud of Stevie, who's ex-Affiliation, who called in to reveal details of a meeting that he was present at with Celtic and Peter Lawwell. And if you need to go and hear those clips, please go to SoundCloud. I'm sure they're up on YouTube now. Speaking of YouTube, the following night Stevie called in the HomeBhoys live show. That was last Monday night, and reiterated a lot of the points that he made and expanded and elaborated on a lot of the issues regarding Celtic's, I suppose, complicit, are they complicit, collusion, whatever you want to call it, with police, focus groups. And it all kind of came to a head with the Green Brigade Corteo that really never got going in Glasgow and in the delegate. So tonight we're going to record a podcast because we have Stevie on the line, and we're going to focus solely on Stevie tonight and his experiences and I suppose a lot of his history as well, and how these things have affected him and his opinions. And we're going to discuss them. We're going to get as much out there as we possibly can, because this is just turned into quite a massive issue. And I'm actually just back from a run with a friend of mine who's a Liverpool supporter, and I explained everything to him that had been happening. And to be honest with you, he was completely gobsmacked at something like this would happen. And the thing he just kept on repeating to me was, this doesn't look well for the club. And we're going to see how deep that hole gets in the coming hour and a half. So we have Stevie on the line here, Stevie Cairney. Stevie, you there?
How you doing?
Not too bad. And of course, we're joined by the usual culprits, the one and only Jason Higgins.
All right, boys.
And as usual, green and white raider, Mr. Paul Larkin.
Hello.
Now, Stevie, we're going to focus completely on yourself tonight, and the things that you know, the things you've experienced, how maybe recent events have affected you recently. There's that many things that we can talk about. There's that many angles and areas we can go into. There's, like, as we spoke before off air, I can't even think of one jumping off point to kind of go, okay, let's start here and move on, because everything kind of, the further on it goes, the more it can loop back to something else, which is kind of, it's that big an issue. I mean, for you personally, since you went on Celtic Dreams and you came on our show last week, and of course you're on here again, thankfully, this week, how have things changed for you, just as a regular Tim?
Well, not greatly, really. Apart from the phone's going constantly, the emails are flying in. There's questions and coming in via message boards on private messages. There's DMs on Twitter. There's every man and his dog basically want a slice of the action or want to voice their opinion, or really just 95% guys saying, incredible. Other guys saying we knew this all along, and majority of them just folk that I know, folk that I've dealt with, folk who know me, know my character, just back me up on this and just saying, well done.
And that's one of the things.
There's been a small element of people saying, I don't believe that for a minute, and I've said, well, go and question other people who were there. Has it been denied? Is it true? Yes. Have I got an agenda? No. So there's been a few things labelled at me, and people have threw a few different curveballs and things like that, but at the end of the day, it's 100% fact. They happened. I've got the backup. I know what happened. I've got the proof that it happened. So that was my only... I have no qualms about it. 100% focused. I know exactly what happened. So.
And you mentioned there, Stevie, I mean, like, has it been denied? I mean, when you first kind of made that appearance on Celtic Dreams, I think it was the day after the statement came out from Celtic?
Celtic Dreams was the Sunday night, and Celtic had a statement out, I think, 5 o'clock on the Monday.
Yes. And
the statement out on the Monday saying that I think it was any suggestion that the club was passing information to the police. I think the wording was quite frankly ludicrous.
Yes.
And then on Tuesday, or was it Wednesday, Celtic Trust had released minutes of a meeting from Tuesday, which Celtic confirmed in that meeting that, yes, they had passed information on to the police. So was that a small kind of, we'll release this out softly by saying a kind of half-hearted attempt at, well, we did. But I think if they're called upon that, they'll use some kind of, the police are entitled to know information. But it's a double-edged sword.
That's what I was thinking. I was expecting to come up with a statement saying, well, yes, we did, but, that's just regular practice.
Yes, I was expecting a but at the back of it to justify it, but there's not been, so...
No, nothing like that.
See the thing I found, Joe, interesting about the Celtic Trust statement, it was the part where they questioned, I think it was Peter Law, on the Data Protection Act, and if this was potentially in breach. And I think he said something, I don't have the statement to hand, but I think he said something along the lines of, I don't believe it was, but I'll check it out for you.
Yeah, we've never heard a thing,
I find that incredible. And the way, I've got 3 season tickets. I've got myself, my 2 kids, season tickets. I don't go to the game, and I'm not anywhere near the sort of Green Brigade or anything like that. So I just law-abiding citizen, go to the game, watch the game, and I have no reason to think that my name would be given. But at the end of the day, I'm a season ticket holder, and they've got my details. Yeah. So I take it the people that they're giving their details over to the police, they've probably not been caught doing any crime. It's potentially on the suspicion of committing a crime. So effectively, if they've looked up at the bit where I sit and there's a suspicion that I've committed a crime, then quite effectively they could be handing my details over to the police as well.
Yeah.
Because that's what I read out it. And I
Well,
find
that's what I take from
incredible.
it as well, which it is. It's a massive admission from their part, but they've kind of dangled a carrot. I feel like they've not elaborated on it, So, but the fact that they've not elaborated on it and says this is why we do it, or we're tagged by law that we need to do it, then it leaves it wide open to greater suspicion, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I fully understand if you're committing a crime at the game.
Yeah.
Then you'll be arrested and your
Yes.
details can be passed across, and that's.
I don't think anybody's got an issue with that.
Nobody's got a problem with that, because the interesting fact is, maybe we'll discuss this, but some of the other podcasts, especially the guys down under, they had an ex-Strathclyde policeman. I don't know if you read, you heard the show. I listened to it this morning on the way to work, and I was. The guy, to be fair, made some good points, but some of his other points were ludicrous. And we're not going back over old ground, but there was a suspicion that Peter Law was pointing out guys, and one of them had red hair because the guy was seen waving a seat about. Now, this policeman this ex-policeman then interpreted that somebody had smashed a seat up. Now, waving a seat and smashing a seat are two different things.
Well, that's right. Sorry, but I've had people coming back to me saying, right, the instance that was used was there was a series of flashpoints flashing up on CCTV from different matches and from different away grounds. Intelligence gathered using a mixture of focus footage plus in-stereo footage from Celtic Park, surveillance footage. And this one guy, through a series of things, had popped up, from different cameras, from different footage. He seemed to be, every time there was something going down, he seemed to be involved in it. So what we seen, this is their words, but what we seen inside Celtic Park, the footage that they showed us was, the crowds bouncing about and guys with broken seats, holding broken seats. But if anybody's holding a broken seat, who's to say they broke it? Unless they've got footage of the actual seat getting broke, how did they know that seat wasn't broke 4 rows back and the broken bit of seat was thrown down,
Yeah, so that was exactly my point, Stevie. And the thing is as well, actually saying these guys are smashing seats, I would bet London to an orange these seats get broke accidentally.
Yeah, I was going to say that, right?
Because the guys are jumping about.
During the motion, during the washing that they done, which was done for one game only. And
it's not right, because obviously, the thing is, Celtic need to pay for it, right? So somebody has to be took to task. But if you break a seat accidentally, you shouldn't be put in jail for that.
Now, I've heard rumblings. I don't know if maybe I got one of the Green Brigade boys to confirm this. I don't know if they elaborated this in their podcast, but that the Green Brigade had to put in a bond at the start of the season for their section in case of any damage.
Right. I didn't know that. No, they didn't mention it in our podcast.
Right.
No, but I'll get confirmation for that. No bother, mate. But it's interesting, because the thing is, I'll take you back years, and one of the other podcasts, my good mate Johnny on the TikTok show, Johnny hit the nail on the head when he said, see the Green Brigade, they're angels compared to what we were when we were younger.
Exactly.
See, when I was 18 going to the games, the Green Brigade are angels compared to that.
Yes.
I'll admit this, right? And I didn't do it, and believe me if you want or not, but see Ibrox, when you beat them, everybody standing up in the chairs. I was in the front of Broomlin. There was seats lying about. The seats were buckling everywhere, but you weren't breaking them, you were standing on them.
Yeah.
And,
we've all done
exactly.
it. Many times you've been at a game and you've scored late on, or you fell a row in front, or you fell back, especially at Ibrox. You score, you jump up spontaneously onto the seat, the thing buckles, cracks, but I've done it I don't know how many times,
I know, and it's the thing is, and obviously if you're at Ibrox and a seat's broke next to you, you'll pick it up and you'll hold it and have a laugh and stuff like that, and you necessarily didn't need to break it, but it's to think that Celtic supporters would be smashing seats in Celtic Park, and that's the words that the ex-policeman used. I just find that extremely offensive to every Celtic supporter in the stadium.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just thought I'd clear that one up because it hurt me.
No.
And he was talking about the ex-policeman as well. He was talking about Celtic are quite within their rights, getting people arrested for waving seats about. Well, they get 4 people arrested on the suspicion that one guy was perhaps involved in a criminal activity, but they had no proof. They get 4 arrested. I think that's despicable. So
they've pinpointed one individual on the basis that he's always quite clear on the footage. And not one part of that footage was he committing a crime.
Aye.
That's what got to me from that footage. But And then obviously the Green Brigade had came out weeks after it to say, the last home match we had 4 guys with red hair lifted for some reason entering the stadium. It was just all too much, if you know what I mean. It was just...
Yeah. So what's been your overriding feeling this week then? People contacting and stuff like that. What have you done
really
any
just
force of conscience, or have you still standing by everything that you said?
100%.
No, I know you're standing by it, but are you happy that you done it, or do you wish that you maybe...
I'm happy on my own conscience that I'd done it, and I'd done it via the same platform that you have gave me, via the Celtic Team Show, and also that I didn't do it by any personal gain, by going through any mainstream media or any other outlet or any second party. I've done it myself, using my own words and speaking up myself. And I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody else. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. My words, what I've seen. I'm in some ways I feel like I've got a terrible conscience on myself that I've kind of let down previous colleagues and within the affiliation. But then, I've got devil and angel playing on each shoulder, and then I think to myself, but no, I was in that privileged position, and I was in the meetings, and I was in Celtic Park representing your support. I wasn't representing 3 or 4 other committee colleagues. I was representing your support. And what I seen, what I took, and dealings between emails between myself and Peter Lawwell and other people within the stadium, I couldn't live with that any longer within myself. So I done it from within myself, but obviously, hopefully, on behalf of the support, and hopefully that's the way people see it. The affiliation will be fine. The association will be fine. They're well-run organisations, got good guys in charge of them. They know what they're doing. At the end of the day, what I was within the affiliation, the same as the rest of the committee are, and the same as the committee of CSA, and the same as the guys that run the Green Brigade, or the same as the guys for the Irish organisation. We're just guys that go and watch Celtic home and away. We're punters. We don't get paid for it. We've been put in a position due to hard work, due to effort, due to trust, due to just good guys, good people, and it's a day and night job, and everything that everybody does, hats off to anybody that's involved in any of the organisations. It's hard work, it's committed. Your phone's going constantly. There's constant emails. People don't realise the work involved. I mean, even guys that are bus conveners or run supporters clubs, it's a big ask, a big task. Charity money and fundraising, and even right down to legal stuff and insurances and everything. It's a big ask, and everybody does that off their own back just for one love, and that is Celtic. And what I seen in that one meeting prior to Christmas is that was taken away from me. I was in there solely representing myself on behalf of the affiliation committee, on behalf of the affiliation buses, which then in turn on behalf of their members, which total a few thousand people, season book holders, So for me to sit there and see what was going on from our club against the people who effectively I represented sitting in there, then no, that just didn't sit right with me. And from that meeting from a few days before Christmas, my mind was made up, but I had to kind of play the game, if you like, for a wee while longer to build my own personal case, which I have. There's piles of emails between myself and the club. It's all there. Everything's there. Everything's documented. Everything's been seen by 2 other people, a third and a fourth party. Recorded, noted, passed on, put safe. So it's all been verified for other sources and other people. So I've absolutely no qualms whatsoever about anything I've seen or about anything that I will elaborate on later on. So,
Stevie, I mean, do you think that the club just expected you to just go along?
Well,
and if so, why would that be?
This is what struck me, and now sitting here thinking back on it, what happened before I was in there?
That's my exact thoughts at the minute.
I was only voted on the affiliation committee last July, end of July, August at the AGM. I'd been doing a wee bit of charity work off and on, and I'd been doing stuff with my own supporters club, and I'd known the affiliation committee. The secretary had resigned in the summer, and the ticket convener resigned, so there was a new ticket convener brought in they installed a treasurer, there was a new secretary, and they created a kind of media post, effectively, which was myself, to run the website, run their Twitter, deal with charity stuff, and then just be a committee man, just come on board, and I was voted on to that position. Quite surprisingly, I was only at the AGM representing my own supporters club, and I had no idea what was happening that day at all. It kind of sprung upon me, and accepted it, and it was seconded, and there I was. But from that point onwards, anybody, if you ask them who I worked alongside, I committed every single day and night to the affiliation since last summer. I've fought tooth and nail to try and the affiliation. But within it, I think I'd kind of reached a point where I'd went so far, and the guys openly admitted it. The two main men who had ran it for years had openly admitted that it kind of reached a point it was even freshened up a wee touch. So there was a few of us brought in, and everything was going great. I was loving my role, loving the position. Was having great fun, got great enjoyment out of it. Felt so privileged that, I was representing, one, myself, and two, representing my supporters club. It kind of put us on the map within the affiliation. Going to these meetings, going to delegates meetings, sorting stuff out, dealing with people inside Celtic Park, sorting out our lounge, dealing with tickets, and just thriving on the role. And then that one particular meeting, everything just came crashing down for me. That was a big nail in the cough right in the back, if you like, that day. But I just felt leaving that day, and when both of us that represented the affiliation that day kind of got in the car and were silent, driving down Kerridale Street, and had a big sigh and just kind of looked at each other at the same time as if, Jesus Christ, what are we getting asked to do here? What's happening here? And it was kind of went on for days. This was a few days before Christmas, and just completely and utterly bewildered and bemused that, one, which we had seen our own club and our own club employees and what they were doing against the section of our support, and two, the fact that they were using us and they were dragging us as the affiliation and the association in to conspire against the Green Brigade and to build a case against them and to report back with anything you hear, let us know anything you see. And the whole purpose of that day was to show us this video production that they had compiled to turn the two organisations against the Green Brigade. I have no doubts about that whatsoever. That was the purpose. But all it done that day, well, it's now proven, is it's had the reverse effect. And this week, coupled with the FAC bandwagon that started rolling and the rally support leading towards the 6th of April, they've had a major boob. It's a shot in the arm for the supporters rather than having the opposite effect. I'm assuming that people within Celtic had hoped it had. So,
I mean, Stevie, one of the things that's galling me about this, right, is this thing about targeting people with break seats and all that. When we know that Rangers Old Co fans broke thousands of seats at Celtic Park. I don't know if any were ever banned Celtic Park. We know that a Serbian Strathclyde police officer vandalised toilets at Celtic Park while in the Rangers end, and nothing was happening. There seems to be this kind of current innocent until proven Green Brigade about Celtic right now. And I think that you're talking about the attitudes and that. I mean, I know one of the things that's galled you and it galled me as well, and everybody on this show, is the kind of perception that there was like this mass riot at Dens Park. Yeah. And that people were 50 miles from the stadium that night were giving eyewitness accounts and all this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think that was part of the collective strategy, Celtic, that they were putting them on you to say this is what that, and then all of a sudden it was a mass riot at Dens Park and Dundee apologised to you and all this kind of thing?
Going to elaborate on that here. Dens Park, so far as I can see, and this is my perception of events from the meeting, Dens Park was completely and utterly a set-up and a fabrication against our own support by the club. After the security meeting, we then moved back through the small meeting room after the Green Brigade video production, the famous film, was finished. We moved back into the small meeting room and there was a discussion of future games. There was the discussion that the next two home matches over the festive period, Celtic were going to order a reduction on security around 111. to let them get on with it and hopefully give them enough rope to hang themselves, the famous line. And then we moved on to the next impending away match, which was Dens Park. And to be fair, we had said that we've got concerns that day. You know, why are we playing at Boxing Day at 7 o'clock in Dundee, and everybody's off holiday and everybody's been on the wine and the beer all night before. Everybody's going to, you know, that day potentially. You know, it could have been potentially that day could have been an absolute recipe for disaster. Now, what I take from that is I think Celtic looked upon that day and thought, this is a great chance here, because there's a potential here that there could be some disorder at Dens Park. This could be a chance to drive another nail further into the coffin. So what transpired from that is we were sitting talking about the match and kick-off time, and Ronnie Hawthorne confirmed to us that he was at the security meeting at Dens Park earlier in the week, and he met with Tayside Police and Dundee Football Club, and Tayside Police had categorised the match as a low-key. It wasn't going to be a high-security match. Policing, they said they were going to use the police tactic of the match would be policed low-key to hopefully then the reaction from the crowd would be quite low-key. As opposed to, you know, a full ring of steel round the away end, if people are penned in and they look, you know what I'm trying to say. You know, if there's not a big police presence there and you're not getting searched around the turnstiles, people are free to go in, and it was a category, whatever it's called. I'll need to recheck, but it was to be a low key policed event. So we were like, all right, then, we'll find. But if you do remember that night, I was there. I don't know if any
I was there. Yeah, I was there, Steve.
Queuing up to go in. There wasn't a policeman in sight. You know what I mean? And there was a couple of turnstiles open, and everybody had a good drink and a good sing-song. We left early ourselves and had a great day out. But within that meeting after, Ronnie had elaborated on it being a low-key match. Peter was then kind of sitting, twiddling, and pulled out his mobile phone and phoned ticket office. I wouldn't mention her name, but he phoned ticket office, one of the managers, and I says, hi Peter here, can you just confirm to me how many people from section 111 season book holders have an away ticket for Dens Park? Get back to me. So phone got hung up, we kept chatting away, usual cup of tea or whatever. His phone goes again. He says, he comes off the phone, right, 65, okay, right, 65. Took a note of it, and Ronnie Hawthorne got it. And before he came off the phone, he says, could you do me a favour, before you finish up tonight, could you get me rows and seat numbers for each of the 65 people travelling to Dens Park? So from that point, I'm sitting saying to myself, what are they up to here? What's going to transpire? And secondly, what's he going to do with this information? And what relevance has this information got? You know, why do we need the 65 people from Section 111's seating details for Dens Park? What good is that information to anybody? Now, I'm still asking myself that question. Mm-hmm. You know? So was Peter and the rest of the board maybe planning to come in at the away end at half time and individually wish every Green Brigade member a Merry Christmas? I don't know. I don't know. Take from that what you will, but I can draw my own conclusion on that, you know what I mean? And take my own perception from it. But
that's quite incredible.
The first thing I done from that was Dens Park came and went, right? The following day, we had an Irish-based journalist writing a lot of second-hand nonsense about, you know, the trouble it had ensued. One of the Dundee directors, I don't know his name, had done an interview that night, I think within an hour of the match, saying the scenes harked back to battles from the 1970s.
I know.
You know, we had John Hartson rolled out in the sun the following day, calling our support a disgrace and calling on fellow Celtic supporters to phone the police and to get other people incriminated. And I'm going, where did this come from? Were they a different match from me?
Yep.
You know, I just couldn't see it. So from that, I've took my own. This is only my view of what happened, and only my opinion of what happened is that there was a deep agenda set against that night, hoping that there was going to be some kind of disorder and some kind of bother. But why were the details of the travelling Green Brigade supporters had to be noted, and where did they go? What relevance were they? What use were they to anybody? Now, 2 days after Dens Park, I made contact with one of the Green Brigade guys just to say, well, we had dialogue with them anyway and kind of had touch base, but I had contacted one of them to say, could you just confirm to me, just in case I'm going out my head here, how many guys with Section 111, to a rough ballpark figure, could you confirm, was there roughly 65 out of the 111 section, which you need to remember, 111 isn't just Green Brigade guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys in there who are, but anyway, a few numbers have been crunched and a few phone calls been made, and it came back saying, you're probably roughly around about that mark. That's around about the ratio of guys for your section that travel to away matches, But, I mean, I didn't need to confirm that. All I was doing there was just confirming the Green Brigade guys that this had happened, which I'm so glad I'd done, because this is 3 months down the line. If I'm sitting here tonight revealing this, Green Brigade guys might go, well, why did you not tell us about that? Which I have. Green Brigade, I'm sure, if questioned on it, will confirm that every single piece of this information was passed back then. So
an interesting thing as well, Stevie, like Neil Lennon came out after the game, and I've got no doubt Neil Lennon must have been primed to say this, because he wouldn't have come out with anything like this, but him and Law both commented on the behaviour of the support, and I think this was no long after the game had finished.
Yep.
And you're just saying, I was in the stand, left at the end. I seen a wee minor skirmish at the start before the game started, and that was it. I was sitting over next to the Dundee supporters, and they had Union Jacks giving it large. One of them punched a steward and stuff like that, and fell down the stairs.
I think there was 5 arrests at the match, which, for a match on Boxing Day at 7 o'clock, it's not a big figure, it's not a big disorder, is it? Five arrests. When I think 4 of them were for drunken disorderly, which were Celtic arrests, and one of them was for a violent conduct act, I'm sure, which was a Dundee fan. So there was no even reported violent arrests from the Celtic end. So where did it come from? In this day and age, you know yourself, every single song that gets sung at a Celtic away match, there's somebody within the crowd standing filming it, or there's somebody filming.
Exactly. Where are these videos?
Somebody filming, for instance, our friends in Govan doing the bouncy or whatever. There's always somebody with a video camera, a mobile phone, filming within the crowd. Do you think if there was pitched battles and scenes like the 70s of disorderly, drunken hooligans running riot, there's not one shred of video evidence on it?
It'll be all over YouTube.
Because it's complete and utter fabrication, of which, secondly, comes from our football club against our own supporters.
They said as well there was about 40 odd folk ejected. I don't know one person that got ejected, and I must have known about 100 folk in that stand behind the goal, and nobody even seen them they get ejected.
No. What we had done within the affiliation after that is we had emailed and contacted every one of our delegates on our email list and says, did you have any bother at Dens Park? Did anybody for your buses get arrested? Was there any trouble? And not one reply. Not one of our member clubs came back to us and says, we had one arrest, or we had one person ejected, or we had one guy refused entry, or not one.
They were all too drunk to remember. I'll tell you, that was well on, mate. We went at 12 o'clock.
Well, our bus left at lunchtime as well, and we went away up to Dundee and had a great day out, you know what I mean? And so did most people. But all I seen that night was a crowd who were merry. It was Boxing Day. Celtic won 2-0. We played no bad. We scored 2 cracking goals, and the place was bouncing. Yeah. And then the following day, we all woke up to the Battle of Dens Park.
Oh.
And the bad press that was brought upon the club for days following it. And I'm sitting saying to myself, well, then, things started clicking together and putting 2 together. And I'm like, did that really happen? Did this happen?
And the press was manipulated by people with so-called Celtic leanings.
Yes.
And that's the bit that stuck in my throat.
Yeah,
for people perceived to be from a Celtic nature.
Yeah. Well, take from that what you will, but what I will take from that, and people can quote me on this, is we're quick, and all of us as internet bampots and whoever else is we've thrived on the line of the succulent lamb over at Ibrox. Well, from what I've seen and things that I know, there's a thin slice of succulent lamb being served up in the East End as well. 100%, you know.
And I'm not sending it to HomeBhoys anyway, I'll tell you.
I'm hungry now.
But no, it's galling. And see, the thing is, that hurts me more than anything when it's your own.
Yeah.
That's turning against you. And see, to be honest, we see this kind of stuff here that we're talking about just now. I feel very uncomfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's speaking against Celtic. No doubt you do as well. I'm sure Paul and Joe are the same. And I'm very protective of Celtic. And if an outsider wants to start on Celtic, I'll defend Celtic. I mean, when the Dead Huns were winning 9 in a row, I was still going to work and hold my own against them in any argument.
So was that.
I was at every game, home and away, never missed a game, you know, and I could stand and argue blind with any of them, right? So this kind of stuff, I don't like this kind of stuff. Although when Matt McGlone and all the rest of it was going on with the Celts for Change, I get involved in that, but not a great deal, but wore T-shirts and stuff like that, and I did take part in the boycott, and I was young and I was like revolutionary.
I was a young kind of revolutionist. I was a YTS apprentice at the time, 93, 94, and there was a squad of us kind of teenagers that ran about together, and we were all heavily involved in Celts for Change, and I've still got my letters, you know, saying welcome aboard, and you know.
I was at the meeting in the Candle Rigs when we did big massive meeting. I think it was the first time Dempsey put up to the crowd. I was
at Shettleston, and I was at, I'm sure, at Govan Town Hall as well, rings a bell. And
I mean, that was, you just had to get involved in that because Celtic was a club. But I don't like, I mean, what we are doing at the minute. I mean, for all the bean counters at Parkhead at the minute, they're doing a good job on the business side of it. But this is far too important to ignore.
I think. From my position and where I was, and any outsider, which we are when it comes to the confines of Celtic Park, our board, led by Peter Lawwell, have done an incredible job.
Yeah.
An absolutely incredible job. The financial footing of our football club is twinned with what the job that Neil Lennon's done in Europe, right? Now that's what's put us in this footing. It's incredible. The way we've turned things around, if you like, since the demise of our friends, it is incredible. And it backs up Peter Lawwell's statement at the start of the season that, and fair dues to him on this, we have got a standalone policy, you know, and we've certainly proved that this year, financial-wise. But the big thing for me is this board have totally and utterly lost sight of our support and who we are. And the thing that really, really irks me and hurts me this year is this is even almost, if you take the grand scheme of things, our centenary in 1988, and we were all there and in the sunshine, and the game against Dundee, and love's fresh in my mind, and the cup final against Dundee United, I'm sure, like the rest of you, and incredible year, incredible season. They're the two things that stick in my head from that season, you know, and the iconic strip and everything else. This season, to me, 125th anniversary, you know, their dearly departed friends had disappeared. We had a standalone policy. We qualified for the Champions League. The incredible night against Barcelona, you know, the iconic image of the Green Brigade full stadium tifo, and that they're going to be the images that's going to stick in everybody's head, you know, from this 125th anniversary. But all I can think in my head is our board, rather than using the 125th anniversary to rally our fans and to pull everything together, and you know, the stuff that the Celtic Grace Boys done with the 125th Mass.
Yeah, I was at the Mass, amazing.
I was there as well. Everything that's pulled together, rather than galvanise on that and just be proud of who we are and take one season off. I'm not saying take your eye off the ball financial wise, that take care of itself with the Champions League, but just maybe for one season, just say, let's just loosen the purse strings a wee touch here, let's reduce costs a wee touch here, it's a one-off here, let's thank the fans, let's lower prices. Let's just give a little back to these people, because at the end of the day, if these people aren't coming through the turnstiles, we've not got a 125th anniversary. We've not got a football club at all, you know. But no, what have Celtic done for 125th anniversary? They've released a 125 range in the shop. They've absolutely commercialised it to the death, and they've used on, you know, the heartstrings of the Celtic support to use 125 as a commercial entity, if you like, rather than a celebration of who we are, what we are, and what this season's meant to be all about. and they've completely and utterly they've missed it. They've missed the boat on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had a celebration match, 125th anniversary match against Inter Milan at the start of the season. They never put it on the season book. Who thought that up? Why not just say this match is free? Come in. It's our celebration match for 125th anniversary. Let's get 50,000 in. Let's get the place jumping.
Yeah.
No. What did they charge? Was it a tenner or £12 or something? You know. And there was a shocking crowd. It never filled half the bottom tier. Never mind till the top tier open. You know. It's just they've totally. The commercial department and everything, and I know they're a business. Look, let's no beat about the bush. Celtic is a business, but that business is nothing without the guys that come through the turnstiles, or without the guys that have been there, or without the lifeblood. But the football club are so far detached from the support. It hurts. It really hurts me. It hurts me so bad. But we are so, you know, if you look at club connections and what we had in the past. I know our previous regime, God, I was there campaigning out the previous regime to bring in the new regime, you know, but at least I think the previous regime, there was a connection. There's no connection there just now. And Celtic's going to need to work really hard to re-galvanise that relationship because it's lost.
I mean, Stevie, I'm going to assume here that people like yourself and in the CSA and all that impress that on Celtic all the time. You know, they impress these kind of things all the time, that you're losing the connection and you should be doing things. I mean, what's the feeling you were getting in these meetings when these kind of things were being talked about?
Well, I've had 6 meetings with Peter Lawwell, various meetings out with that, with other people in positions at Celtic Park regarding other matters, but personally with Peter Lawwell, 6 meetings. And what myself and President and Secretary had always give us a due, we had always rallied home to him since the start of the season is, you know, he's at us about get to your buses, get to your websites, rally the other support, you know, get everybody behind the club, let's push these season ticket sales. He's always saying, you know, we've got a young manager, a young team, we're doing well, we've got a standalone policy. The support he's quite personal when he speaks, you know, he's saying the support wanted me to say no to letting Rangers into the SPL. I've done that, I've said no. And I've also said we've got a standalone policy. So from him saying that, what he's saying is, well, where are these? Where is the Celtic support? Buy up the season books, fill the stadium, as if, you know, I've done my part, where he is. But in turn, we're saying, well, Rangers are gone. We probably, from my point of view, I don't think we'll ever play the Newco, ever. I don't think they'll ever be in a viable position to play us. If they are ever in a position to play us, they'll never ever be in a position to compete with us. That's you know, that's miles away if it ever becomes a reality. But they missed the boat at the start of the season. One, they had an absolute PR disaster with the children's season books. They sold the season books, if you remember, as Club 12, which was the Dundee fixture, which was left open in case it was our friends from across the city. Now, that money should have been refunded, or these season tickets should have been scrapped and said, look, return your book and we'll resell it. It's meant to be a £50 book. They in turn charged £125 or £128 for children. And then sit and say to you, well, nobody's buying these season books. Why are we down so many thousand season books? Why have we only sold? At the time, I think we had a meeting in September and they used the figure of 41,300.
See, even worse than that, Stevie. Sorry, but see the kids' season tickets. See, because I'm on the auto renewal, my kids still got the £50. Well, but guys along the row for me, they weren't in the auto renewal. Their kids were 127. And what's that all about?
I wasn't on the auto renewal scheme either. I always physically go in and buy my season book cash. I never do the payments or anything. I always just in the summer I have my money set aside and I go and buy my season book for me and my wee boy, or 2 wee boys that go to the games now. But in the summer I'd done the same thing. I had been my holidays, came back my holidays, went up to the stadium and ended up paying £125.
Bloody hell, and I got it for 50 because you're not auto renewal. I mean, how can you differentiate?
Exactly, and I've had a children's season book. I've had a kid's season book for 4 years now. Since my oldest boy started going, you know.
Terrible.
I jumped from 50 up to 125 or 128, whatever it was.
Aye, whatever it was.
I was like, look, this is the circumstance, okay. Just pay it anyway, you know. But it's not till you sit back and think, and then I think they came out with a kind of a measly offer of anybody who's felt, that it's disproportionate or whatever, just write in and we'll send you a £30 club shop voucher. So you can invest even more money back into the club, It's just
it's the one business. It's the one business that you can treat your paying customers like dogs, and they'll still come back.
Still come back. Yeah.
We done a show here. It was near the start of pre-season, and Paul lived in America, and quite a few of the guys that listen to the show remember the US-based supporters club when Celtic went over to Philadelphia. 40,000 there was in Philadelphia, and about 10,000 of those were Celtic supporters. The other 30,000 Real Madrid fans, but my mate says none of them had ever been to Spain before. It was either Americans, South Americans, whatever, but Real Madrid fans. There was cabins outside selling Real Madrid stuff. There wasn't one place to buy a Celtic top. There was 10,000 there. I mean, see if they handed out free T-shirts. Just for a night, if get Nike to make 10,000 free T-shirts, hand them out with a Celtic logo. If you hook 10 kids there, how much money is that generating you in years down the line?
But they've missed the boat there, the same as they've missed the boat in Ireland. In the 1960s and 1970s, and even so far I would say into maybe the early 80s, Celtic had the Irish market, and they took it for granted. Busloads, boatloads coming from Ireland. Now, once the English ban got lifted in Europe in the mid 80s, English football had this massive revolution, and then along came Sky TV in the early 90s, and the Premiership was the big thing. Celtic never catered for their Irish market, and all of a sudden, from running around Dublin or Belfast or wherever and seeing constant Celtic strips on show, you had Man United peeking through, and Liverpool, and Man City, to a later extent now you've got Man City running about, and lo and behold, I've even seen Chelsea strips in Dublin. It's just Celtic missed the boat with Ireland. They took the Irish supporters for granted. They missed the boat. And the American market, look at the Irish diaspora in America. That market is phenomenal. Phenomenal. But again, that's a commercial side of things. But support wise, Celtic missed the boat in Ireland, big time. I know we've still got a massive widespread support in Ireland, but which I'm probably, unfortunately, due to the Celtic Tiger, that's people have been kind of rendered financially there, but they missed the boat. They missed the boat. And what I've seen, my own personal feeling this year, is they've missed the boat with our own support in Scotland this year. And unless there's drastic action from within Celtic Park to rejig this, regalvanise this, then I fear for season book renewals. I really do. I know we're going to get 100%, it's a certainty we're going to get a production this year, but with the new league set up next year, is there not going to be two less fixtures anyway? So, even if we got £100 chop, you can call that 40 quid. You take £229 off it,
Yeah. I mean, in regards to the American stuff, it's like, I've never yet encountered anybody at Celtic had the first clue about an American market or the American people that kind of watch football, I mean, Americans, and Jason, Joe will tell you this, they're used to watching their sports on huge HD-ready televisions, and Celtic send over an internet stream, and it's a crappy one at that. And the first price they quoted the clubs for it was $100 a game to watch an internet stream, which was negotiated down to $50. And so that was that, and because at that time the clubs are struggling, and it's like the kick-off times never help and that kind of thing, fighting like mad against anything. And then what did Celtic do? They sold the rights to Fox TV under their noses. So now people can watch it on HD, but it destroys the clubs. Yeah. And these are the clubs, and people might say, "Oh, that's progress, this and the next thing." These are the clubs that provided Celtic coverage to the fans in America long before Celtic ever did, and B, put Celtic on the map in North America.
Yeah.
And they've just been shafted. Yeah. Pure and simple.
Yeah.
I know, and see even like marketing departments and stuff like that, see going back to the days when you started all going to watch Celtic, for your local supporters bus even on, the guys, they controlled the tickets, obviously with the season tickets now, people apply themselves, but back then it was like your bus convener and they'd divvied out the tickets and stuff like that. But Celtic used to send players And for you playing for Celtic, you knew you had to go to 10, 20 functions a year. How many of them go to players' functions nowadays? But the other thing was, I think, Paul, we spoke about this, was it no AC Milan or whatever when they were over playing in New York this year? They sent their full team into Macy's to sign AC Milan strips all night. Oh dear, that's AC Milan. That's world superstars. And they're sending their players.
I saw them in Macy's in the summer in 2007, and they were playing over at Giant Stadium, and they had the whole team there. There was maybe about 60 people turned up, and I got to meet every member of the AC Milan team, Ancelotti, the lot, Nesta. Incredible. I mean, it cost them nothing. And going to Macy's, they had like a couple of hundred tops, and every single person had bought a top and got it signed and all that kind of thing. And it was fantastic. Juventus were over 2 years ago, and the whole team went on a walkabout in Times Square for their fans to come and meet them, Del Piero, the whole lot. Yeah. And I'll tell you, the amount of people that was there, the vast majority were supporters of Celtic and teams like that who just wanted to go meet Juventus players.
Yeah.
You know, and the only time I think Celtic ever done anything was they went up to the parlour bar, like, announced it 2 hours before and went there for an hour and then we left and all that kind of thing.
Where do you think, with me being in the position I was in, inside stuff and that, where do you think we've lost the connection? Where do you guys think we went wrong here?
Well, personally, I think that in terms of the players and fans thing, I think the day we moved into Lennoxtown as a first team, that put a disconnect right away.
Yeah, that's a massive thing for me.
Had to mingle with people at Barrafield and that. And you're talking about dance. I mean, the dances thing is a real bugbear of mine because I've heard some horror stories. I can give you some horror stories right now.
I've few myself.
Where it's kind of like, I'll not name the player, but it was somebody was asked to come along and they were like fine and they were told what was happening and all that kind of thing. And the guy showed up, he didn't want to eat the meal, he wasn't appropriately dressed because it was a black tie event, and then about 20 minutes into it he said, listen, I've got to go, I've got a Chinese meal booked. And that was it.
Well, just to carry on that point, it was my own supporters club's player of the year dance last Saturday night after the Aberdeen match. So we had the number 7 in Celtic Park hired and booked. We had a band booked and a disco and whatever else, and took their meal package, and we had it confirmed. For some reason, I don't know why, but we do a vote on the bus on the way back. There's a wee guy who runs under in the bus with a notebook and who's your man of the match today, and we compile this over the course of the season, and then when it comes to the week before the dance, we tally it up and see who the player of the year is. Well, surprisingly enough, I don't know why, but Charlie Mulgrew was his player of the year for our supporters club. I don't know why Wanyama never got it, but that's another thing. But so we had obviously had seen the tally sheet and had worked out about a month back that Mulgrew was going to be player of the year. So we had to apply to the club and say, preferably he's going to be our player of the year, but you can give us whoever you see fit or whoever you think is going to be, available or whichever way they work it. We weren't too sure what the system was. Which really I should maybe have manipulated better and maybe used my position to do better, but I'm not the type. I never asked for anything. I've never used my position to further my own supporters club or myself within the club. I've never went, I'm Stephen on the affiliation, I'll get us a couple of cracking players, watch this. It's not the way we work. So I let the club secretary and president deal with that. So we left the match. Samara scored in the last minute. Obviously the place went berserk. We're back in the bus. It literally saved our night because with 5 minutes before that, I'm sitting in the Lisbon line lower saying to myself, this is going to be some night tonight. Beat for Aberdeen, you know what I mean? So we're back in the bus, everybody's singing and dancing, party time. Back to our base, everybody off the bus. We had 2 coaches booked, 2 big buses booked for 7 o'clock for going back to Celtic Park. So we're all off the bus, as you can imagine, dropped off at the pub, all scampering up the road, getting the suits on, getting shifted, getting the wives, getting back down, back onto the 2 coaches, back to Celtic Park. Now, 3 members from our club missed the game due to the fact that Celtic could only give us access to the number 7 restaurant from 6 p.m. onwards to get the lounge ready for our dance, which is fair enough. They've got corporate facilities on during the day. So from 6 p.m. onwards, our 3 guys are sitting outside in a van, balloons, club banner, plaques, all stuff that we effectively couldn't take up on the night because you want the whole set up for everybody arriving. So they guys missed the game to go and do that. So they got access at 6:30, by the way, never get in at 6. So we've left at 7, we're there for 20 past, we've already be seated for 1:30. We're coming in the door at the number 7, and we're all getting the jackets off, and there's a big board up telling you who's seated at what table, and there's a table plan. It was all organised. As we're coming in the door, there's the top table all set up. The place is looking cracking. Green, white and gold balloons, a club banner up and everything else. At the top table, there's Tom Rodgick sitting. And there's 2 Celtic security staff standing at the door, shouting as we're coming in the foyer, saying, "He's need to hurry up, he's need to hurry up. He's only here for 10 minutes. You'll need to hurry up." And I'm kind of one of the ones at the front, walking in with the rest of the committee going, "Wait a minute here, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "We're thinking he's here for the night, or whoever they've sent us is here for the night, Here's Tom Rodgick still sitting with the tracksuit and that on, He's only got 10 minutes. Now, if he's looking for photographs or autographs, he's better be quick. Get it done right now." And I just sit, and going, "You know what, just charge on, I felt like saying to them, everybody, look, just go and take your seats. Celtic security, if you don't mind, just take him and go away." This is the attitude. Where's this came from? He's only got 10 minutes. This is a guy for Australia who, now, I don't think this is this guy's decision,
No.
If this guy's over for Australia, he's obviously here himself. He's obviously living in a hotel out of a kit bag or something. Let him sit with us. Let him get a bite to eat. Let him mingle with the children. We all had our kids in that there, all standing, jumping off the bus with their autograph books and their cameras and all excited. I wonder who we've got. And they send us a young boy who's there for 10 minutes and had to rush off. Now, out with that, through some of the other guys on the bus, through Badger and through different contacts and that, John Clark and Danny McGrain had also popped up for 10 minutes. But they left with Tom Rodgick. So, basically, by the time everybody got in and got seated, they were gone. And if we hadn't made our own contacts through people we knew out with the stadium to get, no me personally, other guys done this, to get John Clark and Danny McGrain up there, we'd have had Tom Rodgick up with Celtic security staff for 10 minutes. And there's other ways to look at it, right? All it's a Saturday night, the guys might be going somewhere, they might be going here and get shifted and go out and
that's
not an excuse. It's
no,
not an excuse.
No. It should be built into your contract.
Yeah, we're in there. No, what I done was I booked the stadium because at one of the meetings I had with the catering director, I'd says, could you use your position to, if you like, ask all your delegates from your different supporters clubs if they would consider using the Celtic Park facilities for their dances. So me being in the position I was in felt that I had to make my own supporters club dance there. So I had went back to my own committee of the supporters club and says at the start of the season, says, look, why don't we book one of the lounges in Celtic Park? We'll get a good deal on that. So fair enough, we booked it. I think it worked out about £33 a head or something, including the 3-course meal, the return travel, the dance, entertainment, whatever else. But I think the cost of Celtic was like £25 a head or something that we had to pay them. And given their due, the catering director says to us, well, we'll throw in a signed ball as well for booking it. So no bother, So on the night, there's an envelope sitting saying signed ball on it. And inside it was a letter saying, whoever wins the signed ball, just hold on to this letter and we'll get the signed ball to you at some stage. They couldn't even organise that for us. But it was just to me, all this is going on in my head, and I'm seeing all these things, and I might be taking things just that little touch too far. But I'm watching all this going on and sitting and going, we've lost touch, completely lost touch. I know it's easy to hark back to, and I don't like constantly using the man as an example, but this would never have happened in Tommy Burns' day. Never. We had our first kind of couple of like well organised dances back in 95, 96. And 95, George Cadet, 95, 96 season. Is that right? George Cadet signed that season.
96. 95, 96 was his first game.
95, 96 season. His first season was in 96. His first game was in 96, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, whichever corresponding year anyway, Burns was in charge and we had our supporters club dance, and I'd been in touch with him during the week. What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know who it is, but I'll guarantee you'll have 2 players and they'll be there the whole night. Now, that's his attitude. I'll guarantee you'll have 2 players and they'll be there the whole night. So we had 2 places left at the home table, the top table, sorry. The night starts on time. In comes Simon Donnelly and Malky Mackay, 2 first-team players, 2 regulars, 2 big players at the time. The 2 guys sat down, had their meal, interacted with people, are an absolute credit to themselves, credit to Tommy Burns, credit to the football club. And we then got a phone call. Don't quote me on this, I don't know if Tommy personally made the call or if somebody made the call for him, to our president at the time, to say, there's a taxi heading your way. Can somebody meet the taxi at the front doors of the Chapel Hall? We've got a special guest up and sending it for you. And don't worry about getting him home if it's somebody coming to pick him up at midnight. Now, this was kind of halfway through the meal, about 9:30, 9:45. And I'm sitting at the top table. I was social convener at the club at the time. And the president's sitting next to me and he says to me, there's somebody coming, but I don't know who it is. He says, would you mind going out and standing round about the front door just to see who it is? I don't know who it is. So, me just like halfway through my meal, no bother. So I was kind of sitting at the edge of the table and Simon Donnelly to my right and Malky Mackay next to him, and so I'm having a conversation with him. So I goes away out, goes out to the front door, I'm standing, hanging about. Lo and behold, this Glasgow taxi pulls up. The door opens and out jumps George Cadet in the pouring rain, standing with a suit on, with the rain lashing down him, just looking in absolute bewilderment. And he's looking at me and thumbs up, and I'm going, completely gobsmacked. George, and he couldn't speak a word of English. He's nodding his head, and I'm like, this way. So I'm kind of walking back into the Chapel Hall where we've got 150 folk all sitting eating their meal, and I'm saying to myself, how do I play this? But it just happened naturally. We opened the door and we came, and just kind of one person noticed, and then 2 people noticed, and then the whole place just erupted and burst into the George Cadet song. But we didn't even have a seat for the guy, you know what I mean? He's just kind of mulling about and floating about. So as people started kind of surrounding him and cuddling him and kissing him, I just kind of made my way back to the top table and kind of got on with my meal, if you like. And he just floated around the place, but it was an absolute bemusement and bewilderment. He had just signed for us. He didn't have a clue what was going on. The meal basically got scrapped. The place just erupted into an uproar. It was no long after he scored that goal against Aberdeen, and he was the new icon. He was the new icon. He was the hero, and the place just... And it wasn't until after it, the guy who ran the bus, I'm not going to name names, but the guy who ran the bus had come back to us and says, Tommy Burns had phoned me in the morning and says, please tell me that clown got full of beer and he's woke up at your place. And the boy was like, no, we got him away home safe in a taxi. I think Simon and Malky Mackay got him away back. And he was like, he says, I just had to send him through there. And Kevin, the guy, sorry, I mentioned the names, but the guy who was organising it at the time was like, we can't thank you enough for doing that for us. That was just, that's fantastic, sending through who you sent as a surprise. And he went, I never sent him through for a surprise for you, I sent him through for a surprise for him. And that struck home. He used our night that night, not only knowing that George Cadet was going to get the reception that he got, but what he done that night was probably send George Cadet out to say, these are the people.
Welcome to Celtic.
Welcome to Celtic. This is a family, and we've lost that. We've absolutely lost it.
I think it's not just us, mate. I think it's every football club. I think the money involved in football now, it's detached players for normal punters. None of them live among normal punters anymore. None of them, very few of them socialise among normal punters. It's they don't holiday with normal punters.
Yeah.
It's just they don't. I mean, years ago, English football teams would go in the train to games and stuff like that. Now they fly everywhere, and it's
flying from Manchester to London,
and it's just. But I think as well, see, going back to the Player of the Year dance, I don't know what you think of this, but there was the advent of maybe in the last 10 years, 15 years, these big corporate dues that Celtic put on, and it's 120 quid a ticket, and everybody's got to get a table, and they sell you a bottle of vodka for 60 quid and things like that. These things have sort of seen to the end of loads of Player of the Year dances. I mean, there's even one now, Mr. Hartson's looking for an evening with John Hartson. Aye, good chance.
John Hartson would turn up at the opening envelope, you know what I mean?
Aye. And you say, I think there was one with Henrik Larsson recently as well, and these are ran by, I don't think they're ran by Celtic, but they're ran by businessmen for personal gain, and I think you're paying 20 and 30 quid for a photo with them.
Well, these are all production companies and PR companies and that run these, but fair play to them. But
what I find incredible is they're putting pressure on all of us to have our dues at Celtic Park, and then when they have their Player of the Year award, they go to the Thistle Hotel.
Aye,
charge you 120 bangers or whatever it is.
We always flag a few mates of mine, they go to everything that's gone, they go to it. They've done pretty well for themselves and their businesses and stuff like that, so they've got a few quid, they go to every one of them, but they always get put in the worst seats. I was at one with Thistle, they were nearly in the kitchen. And my dad got the rest of me, didn't they stop slagging them. He says, well, I'll get your seat up with us. But some of these guys pay some amount of money, to go to all these dues, and it's the same faces at the mall.
It's the same guys, the same faces. I've don't get me wrong, I enjoy the nights, and I've been to quite a lot of them, and
but it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, aye. It's good for supporters buses, and obviously guys use it for business stuff and that as well, but it's just another commercial niche, isn't it? But I enjoy the testimonial dinner things and that. They're more, when the money's going to a charity, and
that's
just another money making venture. But
it's going to the club funds, because it takes a lot of money to run supporters clubs these days, especially with a lot of people going in the car. Because I'm not a member of a supporters club any longer. I used to be, but I just take the kids in the car, and I'll pick up tickets for away games and through various sources. But I used to be members of supporters clubs, but guys like myself have drifted away, and you sort of do your own thing. But I want to get back to, I hope you don't mind, I just want to take you back to something. I don't know if you weren't on the show last week when it was said, but one of our callers called in, and let's get back to like a serious point, but I want to bring it up. And one of our callers called in, and he was ranting and raving, obviously, and they mentioned about you speaking out about when you've been took in confidence, and he made the point that he wouldn't trust somebody like you. But I would throw that back, and to me, I wouldn't trust people that weren't you. If you know what I mean, like the people that went before you, I wouldn't trust them. Because if they were privy to conversations like that and they kept them to themselves, and it was to the detriment of fellow Celtic supporters, to me, they're the ones that are not to be trusted.
Well, exactly. As I said earlier on, what has been going on in the past prior to me being in there. Now, this is nothing vindictive against anybody who still holds a current position within the affiliation or the association, or the people that I know and I've met.
Can you tell us as well, Steve,
guys.
Why the two bodies? Why not the one? What's the history behind that?
I don't know the exact history behind it, but I think the association kind of historically back in the days were more like a right Glasgow City based, and I think they covered everything. But I think I might have been picked up wrong here, but I think during the kind of 80s, when the buses for away tickets started really coming in, there was still a lot of cash gates at away games, but I think in the 80s when the away tickets came in and the distribution of away tickets went through the association, I think there was a kind of feeling that certain buses in certain areas got preference, and I think. I'm not in a position to relay the history of the supporters organisations, but I think the affiliation was born from two guys in Greenock Supporters Club, and they started it as another organisation and another means, I think, to give supporters buses primarily out with the Greater Glasgow area a better share of tickets. I think that's the way I've seen it. I don't quote me on that, but I'm sure.
Certainly.
See on the affiliation website that I actually ran, there's a history of the affiliation page on that, and it gives a detailed account. There was a guy called, I'm sure it was Guy McCafferty from Greenock Supporters Club, who started the affiliation. Then obviously through to the well-known guys like Peter Rafferty and Alan Horton, who've done fantastic in their roles as well. But that I'm pretty sure that was the kind of gist of why another organisation was born, I think. Right. I might be wrong. But
no worries, mate.
The CSA were the only body at one time.
Yeah.
The Supporters Association was a massive organisation. There was like delegates and presidents and counter presidents and and subcommittees and grand balls and dances and could that have been managed better? Probably. I I don't know. I really don't know. You'd probably need to be around at that time, mate.
I mean, both organisations. I mean, I've met loads of guys that have represented both organisations, and you mentioned Peter Rafferty. I mean, you couldn't meet a better Celtic supporter than Peter. McDinnon, Brendan Sweeney, Eddie Toner. I mean, these guys are all just Celtic guys at heart, and guys, especially guys like Eddie and Brendan. I know for a fact that kind of previous to Peter Lawwell when they were in the field, they were going in there screaming at guys and all that kind of thing. I was in a meeting once when there was a big thing at the time about Celtic supporters. It was getting a fan on the board. This is when this really started to come up, and Eddie Toner put this very vociferously to Brian Quinn, and Brian's answer was, we're all Celtic supporters on the board already, and Eddie says, well, I've never seen you in the Gallagate, Brian. And it's like, I think it's, I mean, you'll know yourself, Stevie, that it's easy to just kind of have everybody tarred under the same thing. But like what's happened with you, it's kind of like everybody's got their own viewpoint and everybody's got their own kind of reasons why they're there. But, I think that the vast majority of people that are in these organisations are there for the betterment of Celtic Football Club.
Yes. What I'll say to Andy is, I've had a few kind of personal messages and a few through other sources directed towards me this week saying slanderous, stupid, ridiculous things like, I was a plant, right? I'm anti-PLC. I'm anti-Peter Lawwell. I've got an agenda against not only the board and its members, but I've got an agenda against the club. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to divide the club from the support. I never created this. I'm there in good faith representing my body, my supporters group, as a delegate. Celtic brought this to us. Celtic dragged us into this. We went there that day for our run-of-the-mill delegates meeting and got hit with this. I never created this. Celtic did. Now, I've had to step back. From that day onwards, the battle lines were drawn, as far as I'm concerned, between myself and those that were pushing this. And I've not been true to Celtic, if I'm being honest. I played the game for a few months, but the whole time, people around me were notified what was going on. Green Brigade were notified what was going on. Everybody knew what was going on. And the deciding factor for me was, it was always going to come anyway, it was always going to happen. But within my own ranks and within other ranks, the other organisations, nobody, this was going on for ages, nobody between us all were willing to break rank and hold their head up and say, this is what's been happening. Now, I know it's very important that organisations have a good working relationship with the club. At the end of the day, the people who are temporary custodians of your club run everything in the club, between money and tickets and everything else. What I'm there for is supporters' welfare. I'm in a trusted position representing the supporters. Now, the day of that meeting, a few days before Christmas, the very people that I'm representing have been criminalised and victimised by our own club, by the temporary custodians of your club, which I've no qualms about calling them, because I won't call them Celtic men or Celtic people, because they're clearly not. But what had happened in between time here is the FAC body, which we were all trustees of, consisting of the Affiliation Committee, the Association Committee, the Celtic Trust, the Irish Association and the Green Brigade, all formed the umbrella group of FAC. Now, how could I sit there round a table with other committees forming this umbrella of unity between our support that's meant to galvanise us, knowing that some of the issues that were getting brought up and some of the issues were getting raised were first-hand happening right under our noses, and we knew about it. It didn't sit right with me. It just didn't sit right. And from the second we left that day in the cab journey, going down Kerrydale Street after that meeting, prior to Christmas, the battle lines were drawn in my eyes, and what I done. Personally, the way I'm justifying it is I manipulated my position on behalf of the support. Now, I'm willing to take this on the chin. I'm imagining there's going to be many a people and many a person want to knock me off my perch for this. People run about me know who I am, know what I am, know what I represent. I've been going consistently to watch Celtic since 1981, since I was a wee boy. You know, my first game was in 1981 versus Morton. I got a row from my dad for pouring a packet of crisps down the guy's hood in front of me. You know what I mean? But nobody would ever, anybody who knows me, nobody would ever question my credentials or my morals as a Celtic supporter. The people within our club are not fit for purpose. It pains me to say it. They are not fit for purpose. There's a massive change required. But my where I'm going with this is the kind of straw that broke the camel's back is I could have just dillied on in my position, saying to myself, I'm not really too happy or what's going on inside there, but you know, I'll maybe take a kind of, if you like, sorry to anybody who's this way minded, but I'll maybe take a kind of church-like attitude towards this and just say, I'll just keep quiet. Everything looks rosy on the outside, you know, when deep down there's a serious issue and a bad root within the club, which people might turn around to me and go, we were in the last 16 in the Champions League, we're having a fantastic time, we've never been so financially suited, we've got a great young team. There's more important things than that, you know, and the welfare of our supporters is far more important than anything else in my eyes, because that's who I represented. I was in there as a fans delegate representing the support. And if the support's getting misrepresented, then I'm pretty sure, pretty confident within my own heart that I have every right to speak out. You know, that's the people I represent. Mm-hmm. I don't represent Peter Lawwell or the board. I don't represent Celtic Football Club as a body. I represent Celtic supporters. So if I left that meeting and I've still got all this inside me and I've never ever come out with it, or if I've never told a soul about this, then I'm doing every single one of these an injustice in my eyes. But to go back to the FAC thing, what kind of happened there was the Green Brigade have been kept up to date with everything. Personally myself, I've kind of kept it within myself to cover my own back that they were kept up to speed with every single piece of information that was coming our way. And so rightly or wrongly, people could see that as maybe I've been a wee bit conniving towards the club or whatever, but at the end of the day, they felt the need to victimise and try and criminalise their own support. So then, well, why not? Why not? But the main thing that for me was the FAC is the last month the FAC has been trying to galvanise all the organisations together again, you know, in this campaign against the bill. And a few weeks back, actually, I'm sure they'll not mind me saying, but the day of the Green Brigade incident last Saturday, I'm pretty sure that day there was meant to be a planned FAC demonstration happening. But to front that demonstration, there was going to be a joint statement from all organisations. Within that joint statement, there was going to be a paragraph which alluded to the security meeting between the Affiliation and the CSA. Now, I was part of the circular round-robin emails that went round between all the FAC delegates, and within that email, basically what happened was whoever had penned the statement that was to be pushed out was sent to us all, and we were all to just say, that's fine, run with that. The Affiliation and the CSA had says, no chance. There's no way we're putting that out. So I'm kind of sitting back within myself, saying to myself, well, I know the paragraph's true. I know the meeting happened. The Affiliation know it happened. The Association know it happened. What have we got to hide here? I mean, we're fans' organisations, we're representing the fans. What have we got to hide here? So, long story cut short, the statement never got issued because it never got backed within. So, I kind of sat there then, and it was everything had been eating away at me anyway. And what the position that Celtic had placed me in was, I was loving what I'd done. I loved my role within the Affiliation. Enjoyed every single minute of it. Very close to a few of the committee members. Very, very close. I was loving every minute of it. They took that away from me. Now, they made me make the decision that I made a week past on Tuesday, where I made my excuses to my delegates, my counterparts, whatever you might call them, in the committee of affiliation, through an email saying I've had to resign, I've got these issues and that issues, and got things going on, and it's just reached ahead, and I can't go on, and I need to chuck it, and basically made my excuses to get out, which was a shock to everybody and kind of upset a few guys, and which, fair enough. But the kind of crux of the matter was, what we were sitting on here was the possibility of the FAC movement crumbling before my eyes, on the basis that all the groups were not unified because 2 out of the 5 organisations knew something that the other 3 didn't, and weren't willing to be completely open about it. So I made the own decision, and you could call it sacrifice if you like, within myself, to say, right, I'm out here and I'm going to fix this. My sole intention at the start, when I resigned a week past on Tuesday, was to come out and speak the truth and let everybody know exactly what was happening. Then everybody within the organisations, so far as I'm concerned, I've done every one of them a massive favour, that they can all breathe a massive sigh of relief and go, well, he's just kind of blew the tin hat off the lot of it. He's let everybody know what's happening. And what you've seen this week is FAC moving forward. Everybody's rallying behind it. FAC's got a new lease of life. So hopefully, if anything at all comes out of this for me, I'm in this for nothing, absolutely nothing. Only satisfaction I'm going to get out of this is what I can see now is a complete, clear and utter unity from the FAC movement, who have now been allowed to move forward, galvanise all organisations, get the whole support together and push forward everything that's planned for April the 6th. That was my only intention of this. But to make that happen and to make everything public, I had to speak out. I had to put my own head on the parapet, take myself out the sand and just say, this is what's happened. These are true. Everything the Green Brigade said, every allegation that they've made is true, 100%. Now, every correspondence that I've had and everything that's been said in the statements, the 2 interviews previously that I've done, the Green Brigade boys, certain individuals, I'm sure if questioned, will back it up, that they were told these facts and figures, times, dates, months ago. So I'm no some kind of whistleblower who's took a bad turn a few months down the line and thought, you know what, I'm going to speak out. I've personally been speaking out since day one, so, and that'll be backed up and verified, so I've no qualms whatsoever about it.
I think, Stevie, as well, we need to reiterate the fact that you have been contacted on more than one occasion over the past course of the week by various forms of media looking to put their angle on your statements. And you've refused every one of them because the bottom line is you want to come on here when it's your voice and you're saying the words and nobody can manipulate the message that you're getting across for their own personal gain. So at the end of the day, me and Paul and Joe have paid you £500 each. No, come on here. It's been your own voice, and at the end of the day, there's no Rod Hull emu tricks. Joe's a bit of a magician, but he's not that good. You're getting your point across here exactly as you want it, and it's up to people if they want to take you at face value or they want to be a Doubting Thomas type. But as you say, you've got factual evidence that can back anything up.
Yes, and absolutely, 100%.
Yep.
And of course,
I just also like to say to MD, and as it hopefully it's came across tonight, and I reiterate this, that I didn't want to put anybody in a bad position regarding this. My former colleagues in the affiliation, guys in the CSA, whatever. My only intention with this is there was serious issues happening between the organisations through various emails, phone calls, texts, whatever, and the FAC movement was on the verge of collapsing right underneath our very noses due to the fact that the organisations just were not together on it. Now, everybody, the truth's there, the truth's out. internally everybody says, right, we know that happened. We all know it happened. Let's move on, drive forward. Hopefully now everybody's together. The FAC movement can, spread its network out through the affiliation, through the association, through the independent guys, rally behind this movement. A movement at the end of the day that the club are willing to put an contact email address for on their own website, saying channel anything you want through FAC there. But I'd like to see the club coming out now and saying, well, these are our supporters. They'll probably say, well, these are our customers, but these are our fans, these are our supporters. They're getting serious wrongdoings here from police, from state, from government, everything. We're backing your support.
Yeah.
I won't hold my breath on it. But if they're willing to put the FAC email address on their website and say contact FAC if you have any concerns, then I'm pretty sure they're willing to put the FAC advertisement regarding the peaceful rally on the 6th of April on their website on behalf of their own support. So we'll see what happens.
Yep, and we just need to reiterate to everybody, the Fans Against Criminalisation demo is at George Square at 12:30 on the Saturday the 6th of April. That's prior to the Hibs game. So
Yes.
If you're going along to the game, make sure, if you can, get yourself along to George Square. I'll certainly be there. I'm sure Mr. Paul Larkin will be there. Stevie will be there.
Yep.
So, as I say, bring everybody with you and just show a great strength and unity for the Celtic support, and just show our opposition in a peaceful manner against this ridiculous piece of legislation that's victimising our support.
Not only your support, but
the Scotland fans with the banner.
Every football supporter in Scotland.
Exactly. The zombies, they're getting treated with it as well, and everybody else. And this affects every football supporter in Scotland, and it was good to see the Scotland fans against Wales on Friday night had a big banner opposing the legislation as well.
Well, it was great that the national fans. I don't follow national football at all, and no shame to admit it, I've no interest whatsoever in watching Scotland, but it was great to see that on a national level, saying, that this isn't right, it's wrong, But then prior to the match, they've rolled out a half-baked pop singer to sing a Scottish rebel song.
Aye.
Against a song about how would you describe it? Outlawed rebels fighting the Crown Forces of England,
Yeah.
But Celtic fans sing about outlawed rebels singing about the Crown Forces of England, and we're getting jailed across the country. It's obviously it's just a crime to have an Irish slant on it, So, time we had. We've got a nationalist party bringing in laws about people singing nationalist songs. So that's from a Celtic fan slant, But this has went widespread throughout Scotland, and it's just nobody knows what they're meant to be doing and whatever else. But I was at a meeting myself, 2 guys from the association, 2 representatives from Focus, and Ronnie Hawthorne representing Celtic 2 weeks back. So I've got the minutes from that meeting, which some of the facts, figures, and some of the statements used that day, which I've got documented and recorded as well, are quite simply flabbergasting. But we can keep that for another night, I think. I think that would have been more useful prior to the FAC rally on the 6th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's all an awful lot to take on board, isn't it? I want to ask you one question, Stevie. We've mentioned that several times on this show, the disconnect between the fans. I mean, are we going from a disconnect now to just a massive widening chasm between club and supporter?
Well, I mean, there's still a connection there to a certain extent. There's inroads made this year. The Charity Foundation thing, the 125 for 125 campaign, which has seen individuals, supporters clubs doing great things. Well publicised and well documented on Twitter and the internet and whatever else. And fair play to everybody that's got involved with it. But outside looking in, from the very offset, that could have been marketed a hell of a lot better. The market employ last summer, I'll call it a market employ, but they're not trying to sell anything. But last summer was the 125 for 125 launch. We're asking every Celtic supporter across the globe to raise £125. for charity. You know, I reckon. No, I'm no PR or media guru or anything. You know what I mean? I'm a joiner. I chat nails, but I reckon that was above a lot of people. If they had come out and says, for our 125, we're looking for every Celtic supporter across the globe to raise £12.50.
Mm-hmm.
They could have taken millions. You know, it's just I don't know. The place is just a PR disaster, if you ask me. I don't know. But again, it's not my game. These are only my views and my perception of things. But things could just be handled a lot better. I just think club support relations are at an all-time low, and it's time fans kind of woke up and faced up to some really important issues here and demanded change and demanded answers. I'm not looking for anybody to lose their job. Anybody who thinks that I've got an agenda against any individuals or anything, that's couldn't be further from the truth. What I'd love to state here, and I hope this goes out, is any meeting I've ever had with Peter Lowell, anybody else I've met from the board, anybody else from a high-ranking position within Celtic Football Club, have been nothing but gentlemen with myself and other colleagues within the affiliation. But the facts are the facts, and what happened and what the agenda they've got is just unacceptable. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Anybody who thinks I'm in this to oust people from positions or I have an agenda against individuals or anything, they couldn't be further for the truth. Celtic brought this upon me. I never brought this upon them. So
what are we looking to happen now? What could see a successful resolution here?
Well, the ball's in Celtic's court, but also the ball's in the fans' court. It's a kind of double-edged sword here because the season book renewals are going to be dropping through the door soon. So I'm not here. I'm not doing this as a massive ploy to get hundreds of pounds dropped off a season book or whatever. But it could be a good start for the club to try and heal some of these wounds by saying, you know what, kind of, they've been here. They've always been here. Domestically, I'll be more than willing to admit it. I go everywhere I can. I go to every away game that I can manage to make. I go to every home game. I save hard my money. I like my European trips, whatever. But domestically, you know, some of it's a dirge, some of it's a bore, and they want to try and get people off their couches and away for their TV sets by charging them £29 and £17 for a child. Well, come on. It needs a shake-up. It needs a massive shake-up. But that's just the pricing structure. Fan relations need looked at. I'm not here advocating for getting a fan on the board or a fan whatever. At the end of the day, anybody who's on the board is still effectively going to be part of the regime that's there, you know. But we just need something, just a little bit of give, you know, just a wee break, and just stop trying to manipulate us and commercialise us and pilfer us, and you know, they've got the Arbroath match, for instance. What was the crowd that day? 11,000 or something, 12,000. I know the ticket price on that day was right. I'm sure it was a tenner and a fiver or whatever, right? But just that day, for instance, it was frozen, absolutely Baltic, and I'd left my wee boy's scarf on the bus, so we were in the Jockstein Lower, and I had walked to the B Celtic shop kiosk under the stand, and you know there was a green and white bar scarf, and I had a Celtic cross on it, you know, the 125 cross. I said, "Oh, that's a crack. How much is that?" And I'm sure the girl was like, it was 14.95 or 15.95, and I was like, and I says, "What about the one next to it? It didn't have, it's the identical scarf. It didn't have the cross on it." I says, "As much as that?" Says, "Oh, that's £9." I says, "So how's that one there so expensive?" And she says, "Oh, because that's part of the 125 range." Now, this just reiterates my point that the 125 is meant to be a celebration of how far we've came, where we are, the position that we're in. The 125 range, the 125 whole concept is a commercialisation. You know? Mm-hmm. If Celtic were looking to put the 125 cross and celebrate our history on on bar scarves. Why not dish one out to every single season book holder? You know, it's just I don't know. There's just small instances and things that kind of irk me, and you know. But as I say, there's no set agenda. There's nothing like that. It's just I just feel as supporters we're so far detached from the club and the current regime that it hurts really bad. If it didn't hurt and if I didn't care, I wouldn't be speaking here tonight. I'd probably be just lying on my couch saying, I'll just go on my supporters bus and just carry on as normal. But yeah, I've made my stance. I'll stick by it. I'm 100% truthful on every single word I've spoken. So.
But I think you bring up some valid points about the sort of the commercialisation of football clubs in general, and I just think it's probably across the board. Yeah. You know, and they're paying these prima donnas that play with them. Half of them couldn't lace some of the greats that's gone in the past, couldn't lace their boots, who played for a pittance. But I know this is a different world we live in nowadays. But we know they're using Celtic as a stepping stone. I'm all right with that. I don't mind that. I know guys like Victor Wanyama.
I know the setup that we've got, and I know that we're doing a fantastic job with our scouting system, and the management team are doing a great job bringing on these young players. And we're going to make money on Joe Ledley. We're going to make money on Fraser Foster. We're going to make money on Wanyama, Gary Hooper. We're doing a fantastic job.
Exactly.
But you know, just don't lose sight of who we are. What those people in Nick Slopes represent. Just give us a wee touch back. That's all we're asking. We're not looking for, we're not looking for whatever. But just give us a wee touch back.
No, I think the message is clear. Let's get the support unified with the club. Let's get everybody pulling in the same direction again, and let's become the unstoppable force that makes us when it happens. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, it's clear for everybody.
You know, football's nothing without the fans. Absolutely nothing. I'm not advocating. I would never ever, no matter how bad it was. This is the type of person or football fan I am. No matter how bad it was, I'd be there. If Celtic, like our friends, they weren't demoted right enough. They've restarted. They're reborn. They're a miracle, you know. But if we fell down the ranks and ended up in the first division, I mean, there's guys that would be there.
You'd still be there.
Status means nothing. That's your football club. And if you're at the doldrums and I mean, in the early 90s, I'm sure we had league positions of 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You know.
Yep.
We were there. There was
they weren't qualifying for Europe. The only trip we got away was a pre-season friendly. Aye.
You're a football fan, that's your team, you stick by it. You know, alright, our crowd's inflated. Right? Now, I call some of them terrible dirts to use, but I call some of them the mechanics, right? Only because of the revolution that started after Fergus McCann, and we had the nice, big, shiny, clean stadium.
Aye. And
people who maybe never went before thought, Mum will go now. And you know, and we boosted our gates by 20,000 easy. You know, we went for an average of 28,000, 26, whatever it was, up to first season, obviously, before the stadium was complete, 40 odd, and then up to 60. Unbelievable. You know, and the time through Tommy Burns, we had fan connection. We had the support relaying to the team, making a connection to the club, even through the Martin O'Neill era. You know, the director at the time was it McDonald? I can't remember Mr. McDonald's first name.
Alan
McDonald. There was a connection there. You know, he made the effort. He put the faith in the manager. He pumped money into it. Now, what you got in return for that was the immediate effect that Martin O'Neill's team brought. Because the first thing Martin O'Neill done after a few days in the job was he invited the Lisbon Lions out for dinner, only on the basis that he wanted to reconnect himself, find out exactly where the club was, you know, get that connection, galvanise that, and feed off them, and that relayed back to the team. Of course it relayed back to them. Look what that team done. The first time we met Rangers, we're gone that day in the bus saying to ourselves, we're baying for their blood. This team's ready for them. Guys like Bobby Petter, who the season before, you know what I mean, couldn't have kicked his arse, were so pumped up, so full of it, because Martin O'Neill had installed in them how important it was for they people who were on the terraces watching it. And I'm pretty sure that ran through every single team that Martin O'Neill ever sent out to watch Celtic. And even through some of the latter stages where the football wasn't great and a lot of it was long ball stuff and whatever, the place was rammed. The place was jammed. You know what I mean?
Remember as well, one of the first, I think it was one of the first seasons in the new stadium after it had been rebuilt. They gave you a ScotRail ticket as part of your season ticket.
That's right,
isn't it? Aye, you get free rail travel on match days. But I mean, that was just something. Give you something back.
They just gave something back. That regime did. You've got to take your hat off to Mr. McDonald. And, I mean, at the end of the day, supporters. I mean, it's easy for everybody to go, I'll get a chequebook out, get us some big signings, get us this, but it's got to suit the market. The market isn't there at the minute for Celtic. We're competing in Scotland in a domestic league. We've got no rivals. Well, we'll never, ever have another rival again. We're a busted flush here. So we need to now say to ourselves, well, if I'm on the board, right, I need to say to myself, well, we need to get ourselves out of here. Have we got a route in England? I don't know. At the minute, what we need to do is look after what we've got, protect what we've got. And to protect what they've got, they need to look after the supporters. And the current regime are failing us. And that support won't always be there. You'll have a hardcore there at 25, not quoting figures, 25, 30, who say this current system, what's happening at the minute, carries on for another season or 2 seasons. The football's not great. There's no opponents. Imagine we don't qualify for the Champions League next season. You know, and are they still going to be charging £29 and 17 quid in the middle of a recession?
Foolish if they do.
Who can have, well.
But you're right. I mean, the guys like us will always still go, and but
that's my football team. I'll always be there. That's my team. I support them. You know, in the past, I'm sure a lot of us have made massive sacrifices.
Oh, aye.
Between our family, financial things, work, business, anything, just to make sure we're there to support Celtic, you know. But there doesn't seem to be any sacrifice or any give in return, and that hurts. That really hurts. It does. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Fan power can change that. We've proved it in the past. Celtic supporters are a very, very powerful body when they're all together, which we are now. You know, the FAC movement that's bandwagon that's rolling this week's just proved that everybody's together now. So hopefully, if anything comes out of this on my part, I can maybe sit back and say, well, I helped that.
Yeah.
And that, for me, will be the greatest satisfaction out of any of it. I'm not looking for any sort of praise, anything. No interested in anything. Not one bit of it. Just going to go out tomorrow and, you know, jump in my van and go to my work and not remotely interested. Just happy deep inside that I've been honest, I've done the right thing, and providing I can be honest with myself and honest with everybody else that I've spoke to, then I'm happy with that. That's
okay. You can't ask for any more. You try to look after your fellow Celtic supporters and you've got their best interest at heart, so at the end of the day, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. Not much more to say after that, I don't think.
No.
Stevie, you did what any Celtic supporter would have done in that position, but obviously you had to, you know, do things in a certain way in order to come out and say these things. You've taken the right steps as far as I can see, and you've done it purely to make other Celtic supporters aware of what's been going on. And I don't know, but nothing but I don't know, nothing but complete and utter praise for you for doing that, because I know you don't want that, but I mean it's just you've done an incredibly big thing, I think. You know, in terms of
I'll just reiterate again. I'm not looking for any adjectives pushed my way or any sort of self praise or whatsoever. If anybody wants to help anything off the back of this, then just get behind the FAC thing towards the 6th, and getting rid of this bill is a massive step forward, not only for Celtic supporters but for every football supporter in the country. You know, we don't need this. We don't need police within football stadiums for a starter. You know, police should be brought in like ambulance people into a football stadium. If there's an emergency, bring them in. Stewards are there to steward the stadium. No, they don't need police. But,
especially if we had a problem with our support, which we don't.
We don't. But it's a very shame that the proof's there and it's all well documented and recorded, and others have heard it and seen it, and we know that it's hard and it's harsh and it's sad to take on board, but our own club were manipulating our own support, which is just unacceptable. So hopefully something good can come out of it. So we'll see what happens.
Stevie, I want to thank you for coming on again tonight and talk to us. Been on now for nearly 2 hours, and
anytime at all.
It's been great stuff. Lads, just want to say goodbye there? Or?
Yeah, I mean, thanks Stevie for his honesty, and people have heard that. They can make their own opinions up. If they want to come in here and talk about it next week, we're here. So, I thank Stevie for his time tonight. It's been really enlightening.
No problem at all.
I'll just reiterate that. Thanks for coming on, mate. And as I say, this is it's a portal for Celtic fans to put their points across, and it was a very important subject. And obviously, we've dedicated this week's show to yourself. And
I can't thank you enough for giving me the platform and the mantle. And the same with the Celtic Dream Show, which kind of broke the story at the start.
No, but I think it's a great thing that Celtic fans have got this vehicle to get their point across.
Well, this vehicle is fantastic, and
nobody can manipulate it.
Yeah, that's right. And guys like yourself need to be commended for providing this platform in the first place. And as I said, it would have been easy to phone up a mainstream media or some kind of outlet and hand over the evidence and
and then what you're going to say with twisted and turned and stuff like that.
Well, exactly, or they could have used that, or I could have used my own financial gain to anything, but none of that is even remotely crossed my mind, which everybody will back up, because I've been nothing but truthful and honest as have others, I need to be honest, to the Green Brigade from day one. But I think we need to focus, hopefully, on the supporters' eyes looking in on this, and this isn't just a Green Brigade issue. This is a Celtic supporters issue.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm not even classing it as anything to do with the Green Brigade now. This is just Celtic supporters getting victimised.
This is just So it's Celtic supporters, every one of us, every last one of us, all together. So
absolutely.
Hopefully, my point's got across.
Yes, sure it has, mate, and I'm sure the download button will be red hot tomorrow morning or the night when it's up.
I'll let go of that then, guys.
Well, that's that, Stevie. You're always welcome, mate. And anybody else that wants to come on here and speak about FAC and that stuff, everybody's welcome.
No problem. I don't want to push or predetermine any shows that you put out.
No, I'm just putting it on myself.
I think it would be a great thing on behalf of FAC if maybe a week on Monday or whatever prior to the 6th, that there was maybe a show done pushing towards the FAC movement and pushing towards the day of the rally. And I've got the minutes from the meeting with Focus, which were wide open to all the delegates that was there that day. There's nothing controversial in them, but there's a lot of kind of quite staggering facts, figures and statements used within that meeting, which would hopefully help further the FAC campaign. So I'll leave that one with you guys, but feel free. That's all there. If he's ever doing anything near the time, then I don't mind coming back on. It's no hassle at all.
Brilliant. Sounds like a great idea. Well, anyway, that's the end of this week's HomeBhoys Extra. Don't know where to go, how to end this, apart from just saying, I don't know. I didn't get any closing words because I can't think of anything to say.
Thanks, Stevie.
No bother.
Right, listen, thanks very much, lads. Goodbye, folks. Hail, hail.
Over and over, we will follow you. Over and over, we will see you through. 'Cause we are Celtic supporters, faithful through and through. Over and over, we will follow you. you go to Germany, you will see us there. France or Spain, it's all the same, we'll go anywhere. We'll be there to cheer you as you travel round. You can take us anywhere, 'cause we won't let you down. So over and over, we will follow you. Over and over, we will see you through, because we are Celtic supporters, faithful through and through. Over and over, we will follow you. If you go to Lisbon, we'll go once again. And as I hear, you'll find us there, calling out your name. When you need supporting, you'll always know we'll be right there with you everywhere you go. So over and over, we will follow you. Over and over, we will see you through, because we are Celtic support.